Hey everybody, this is Eldona Lewis Fernandez, thinklikeanegotiator.com here at James Malinchek's Big Money Speaker Bootcamp. And I have Drew Sutton here on the blue carpet with me. Welcome, Drew.
Hey, thanks. Glad to be here. Excited to be here.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your business.
Well, so what I do is I do coaching for college students, kind of later in college, really, and then young professionals. I'm an engineer right now. I work at a major aerospace company where I lead research, and I've discovered a number of things that would really help college students prepare for the job market, and then also once they get their job to start their careers off right, to make a big impact when they meet their first bosses.
And what gave you the passion to do this?
Well, so my third semester in college, I had some trouble. It was totally character issues on my part, but I turned it around, and so I just have a heart for young men or young women who are having a little bit of trouble or maybe struggled, and once they hit the real world, they have what you do in college doesn't prepare you for the way the real world works. And so I just have a heart to see people succeed, to kind of get over maybe some character flaws or some issues that they're having, and then to both bless their company and really live up to their potential.
Wow, that's fantastic. We need more people like you to help our young people to assimilate into the real world.
Well, that's true. I have 4 young children who I love dearly, and my goal for them is to give them a sound emotional base. They know that somebody's cheering for them, and then to give them a sound set of decision-making principles so that they can, in fact, go succeed on their own.
That's fantastic. Wow. I really admire that. And you are here at the Big Money Speaker Bootcamp. So what brought you to the boot camp?
Well, a friend of mine named Mike, I met him at church, and he really saw something in me, which I'm eternally grateful for. So he and I started meeting together, kind of brainstorming, and then he introduced me to James's material. I loved it. James thinks much like I do as an engineer, even though he's in a different category altogether. And so you got to go find the best, and you got to learn from the best. That's the only way to get better.
Exactly. I totally agree. So what's one, now I know it's going to be hard to come up with one, but just one of the takeaways that you got from the boot camp?
It was probably when James talked about hugs and what did he say? H&H, handshakes and hugs. There we go. It's relationships. I'm a very relational person, and though I kind of knew it as I saw him. I mean, he's dealing with some really big names, and they all like him and they know him, and he's a genuine guy. But he's good. He makes money. He knows how to make money without compromising who he is, and that really attracted me. And in a lot of ways, that's what I do. I teach the young folks that I work with. This is the real world. This is how you make money. This is how you put bread on the table. This is how you excel in your career. This is how you make a difference for your company, but at the same time, not become one of those people. This is how you become who you are and make a difference for people. So I really like that about James.
Yeah, definitely. I really appreciate that too. That's actually one of the key strategies that you're mentioning in my Think Like a Negotiator book, talking about building relationships first, the importance of building relationships. And I often share in my talks that we don't take enough time to build relationships often, especially in America, because we're microwave, let's get everything done in a hurry, Yeah. So that's a key strategy for negotiation as well, and James teaches the importance of that. But in order to be successful at negotiation, that's what I see needs to be one of the key things that people think about when they're going into a negotiation. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Sure. The way I teach is I like to use phrases. I have this thing that all truth is 12 syllables. If you can't say it in 12 syllables, it's not you're mixing ideas. So in this case, I would say vampires suck. And we all have those people in our life that are just vampires. They just take. You want to be what I call a one-plusser. I realize the grammar is terrible, but it sticks. And that means that not only can you're self-sufficient, but you're also interdependent with other people. So I call it interdependent self-sufficiency. And when you're negotiating, the negotiations is where you figure out, is the other person a vampire, or is this another one-plusser like I am? If you and I get into a negotiation, and you're a one-plusser and I'm a one-plusser, we're going to find out that really quickly, and any ground rules we set, we're both going to agree to, right? And then the ground rules are set, and then we can bless one another. So that's why negotiations is critical.
Well, that's fantastic, and my vampire type of strategy would be the last strategy in my book, which is you can't negotiate with crazy.
Can't negotiate with crazy. Amen.
And those are the type of people that when you start to get into a discussion, and not saying mentally incapacitated or whatever, contracts with those people are avoidable anyway, as I describe in my Contracts 101 guide. But it's those people when you start having a conversation, you kind of, yeah, we're just not, we're not, there's a lot of drama coming in here. And that's when you go in with the idea of be willing to walk away, because there's no way to really negotiate with somebody like that.
I agree. And the important thing to remember about a vampire is they, in a lot of cases, I've had a lot of very loving people that I really liked, but they were vampires. It's not their fault. And that's what I tell the younger people. I'm like, remember, it's not their fault. The goal is not to be one, but it's not their fault. They legitimately need your blood to live. So you find a way to distance them, still interact with them as cordially as you can, maybe if they're in your family or whatever, but you do need to distance yourself from them and realize, okay, I can't carry their burden. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, do you have anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
You know, every day I wake up and I pray in the car. I say, Lord, give me the wisdom to know what to do today, the appointments to meet, and the favor to execute those appointments. I get up every morning and I talk to my 80-year-old self. I realize that makes me a little bit schizophrenic, but we like each other. So what I ask him is I say, what do you remember having done when you were my age? Because I realize that in 80 years, he's the one, and sometimes he fusses at me, you know. He's like, don't do that. So that's kind of how I manage the fear of the moment, you know, because you know you need to do that, or you need to talk to that person, you pitch that elevator speech, you need to make that negotiation move, you need to be quiet. And your 80-year-old self has the clarity to say this is what you should do, even though in my case 30-year-old self is freaking out. So yeah, the 80-year-old self, it's really one of the most useful things that I've developed for myself.
Well, that is some great insight. I've never heard it quite put that way, and I will consider that in the future.
Well, I'm sure she'll be a delightful lady.
Yeah, it should be a little nutty, but we get along. Well, thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate you taking time to come to the blue carpet.
My pleasure. It's been a delight meeting you.
Thanks so much. As always, this is Eldonna Lewis Fernandez, thinklikeanegotiator.com, and here at James Malinchek's Big Money Speaker Bootcamp. See you on the blue carpet soon.